Well, hello and welcome to the very first episode of season 3 of the Start Being Visible podcast. Now, I am so happy to be back right here with you. Have you missed me? Because I've definitely missed you. I've missed the show. I've missed the conversations that I have on this show with all these amazing women, and also sharing with you my own insights and strategies, etc., into the journey to be invisible on LinkedIn, in your career, in your business, in the workplace at large. And so I'm so glad to be back. I'm absolutely really glad to be back. And so for this episode, we are going to talk about, I'll share with you, because I did promise that I would, I'll share with you why I've been away in just a second. But in this episode, we are going to talk about the 7 key steps to building your personal brand on LinkedIn. Now, this is based on my own journey of building my personal brand on there over the last several years or so. And so imagine if I was starting all over again, what would I do? What would I do to build my personal brand to get to the stage where I'm at today? So that's the advice that I want to give you today. So, and there's 7 key steps that I would do, that I did then, that I would do again now, that I want you to be able to learn so that you can apply it for your own journey to be invisible on LinkedIn, which will take you beyond. But first, why have I been away? Well, season 2 of Start Being Visible, I think we released that about a year ago in February 2024, and now it's March 2025, so it's been about a year. And in that time, so many different things have happened, including for a season pausing LinkedIn. So I went from, showing up regularly every single day on LinkedIn, every single weekday on LinkedIn for 4 years, from beginning of 2020, January 2020, to kind of February or so 2024. So for about 4 years, I went from posting every day on LinkedIn, and then I kind of all came to a stop last year. That's because I went through a different season and transition in life, where I was working at some things on a personal level, but also on a professional level, really kind of trying to find my place in this world. I don't know if you've ever been there, this whole, I'm very big on work being part of your purpose. I don't believe that your work is just something that you do. I don't believe that work is just something that pays the bill. I believe that work is part of the way that we're designed and wired, and the way that we make a meaningful contribution to society. So whatever it is that you do in your work, whether that's in your business or in your career, it's important and it matters. So I got to the place where I needed to find fresh meaning in my work, and I'm glad to say, thank God, I'm glad to say that I am back, and I am back on purpose. And one of the things that I've really come to realize strongly in this time, which is why I'm back stronger as well, is that I'm not done helping women with LinkedIn visibility coaching, or just helping women to become more visible. There is such a huge demand for this still, in terms of, we are still seeing, I'm still coming across women who struggle in this area. They struggle to be visible at work, struggle to be visible in their business, struggle to be visible on LinkedIn. And if that's you, you are the reason that I am back, because I want to help you. I want to help you get there. I want to help you overcome the barriers that are stopping you from being visible, so that you can enter into that greater destiny and have that greater purpose and impact that you were absolutely created for. So that's why I'm back. And I've also realized as well, because for a while, I kind of saddled the world of entrepreneurship and employment pretty much throughout my career. There's been spaces where I went fully self-employed, fully in business, and then I came back again and did both. And I thought I was back at the place of full-time business, just before last year, but it turns out that I'm not. And the reason that I'm not is that I am actually called to serve women in both realms, women in the business realm and women in the careers realm. So in order to do this most effectively, it's important for me to maintain a foot in both worlds, thus the business, the LinkedIn coaching, and also I still work within the realm of communications, which is my pathway. So I'm getting the best of both worlds so I can help you, in whichever world that you're in. And I absolutely love it. So I am back. I am back on purpose and I am excited to be back. So some of the things that you can expect, the very first thing I did was relaunch my weekly newsletter, The Visible Woman. So if you don't already access this, please jump on to startbeinvisible.com/newsletter and you will be able to sign up from there. They come out, I send these newsletters out every Monday morning, or morning UK time, wherever you are in the world, it could be a different time, but every Monday it comes out, it goes in your inbox, and in there I really go deep on different things relating to business, career, and visibility. So not just strategies like what we're going to share today, but also some insights and transformational moments and things that can really help you move forward. Consider me your coach in your inbox, so if that sounds like something that's useful to you, do go and sign up. All the links, by the way, of everything you need on the show is at startbeinvisible.com, so you'll find the newsletter link there as well. So the newsletter I've relaunched, this podcast I've relaunched for this season. We're going to have season 3 and season 4 this year, and also the really big thing I'm so excited about is I am relaunching my Visible Woman Tribe membership community later on this year. And that is absolutely exciting. That was the community that I started about 3 years ago. And it's for women in the realm of work and business who are sick and tired of hiding, you're sick and tired of hiding your potential. You know that there's so much more inside of you, but you've been afraid, you've held yourself back. Maybe even the spaces you find yourself in have held you back. But now you're like, listen, enough is enough. I'm done with hiding. I'm done with being hidden. I'm done with not being visible. I want to start my journey to be invisible. Even if it's taking little baby steps, I'm going to commit to this. So you are exactly the kind of woman I want in my tribe. And I'm going to tell you more about that as time goes on. But I'm excited to be relaunching Visible Woman Tribe because we did put a pause on it for a good while, but we're going to relaunch it this year. And I want you to be part of that community. So just keep your eyes out in the Visible Women Tribe newsletter, Visible Woman newsletter. I'll be sharing details with you there on my LinkedIn post and of course on this podcast as well. So make sure that you keep your eyes open for that. So it's all very excited. As you can tell, I am so excited to be back and I really hope that you are excited to have me back. Let me know. Drop me a message on LinkedIn, send me a message and drop me an email. You can reach me at info@mildredtalabi.com. But okay, let us get into today's episode because I want to talk, as I said, I want to talk and share with you the 7 key steps to building your personal brand on LinkedIn. So if I were to start my journey again, and just in case you're new here, welcome. If you don't know anything about my story, I think the very first podcast, Season 1, I share a lot more about it, and also in my Start Being Visible book. So please do go and check that out. But a very quick summary is I got into LinkedIn coaching. I started taking LinkedIn seriously in terms of as a platform to really build my personal brand at the beginning of January 2020, as I mentioned earlier. And that's when I went from posting every now and again, as inspiration hit, which was like about once a month, to posting every single weekday on LinkedIn and some weekends too for 4 years straight. And as a result, so many things happened. And these steps that I'm about to share with you are the things that I did in that space of time. And these steps are what took me from having, like, just before that point, I had about 5,000 followers, connections on LinkedIn, but that was built up over 12 years on the platform. And then I went from there to over 50,000, I think it's 54,000 or so followers in that space of time. So in like less than a quarter of the time, I was able to, is it quadruple? Is that the right word? I was able to quadruple my audience on LinkedIn through following the strategies that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So and that opened doors to things like recognition from LinkedIn as a top voice and influencer. I had speaking engagements, able to travel to countries that I've never been before to do paid speaking engagements, all expenses paid and paid, so which is absolutely awesome. Regular stream of clients from my coaching business, opportunities on a career front, even got headhunted for a job through LinkedIn as well. So many good things happened as a result of being visible on LinkedIn, and so many good things will happen for you as a result of you being visible on LinkedIn. So I want this podcast to encourage you on that journey, whether you're at the start, whether you're in the middle, whether you're somewhere above that. I want you to be able to take what we share in this podcast and use that to really further your own journey in being visible, because being visible is worth it. The best opportunities come to those who are visible. So, should we get into the steps? I'm sure you want to get into the steps. So what are these 7 key steps that I took to build my personal brand on LinkedIn that you can take to build your personal brand on LinkedIn? So here they are. If you apply any one of these steps, you are going to be great. But if you apply all of them, you'll be unstoppable on LinkedIn. Absolutely unstoppable. So here they are. Number 1, the very first one is I started early. Now, I say early, I actually joined LinkedIn in 2003, I think it was. At some point in 2003, I joined LinkedIn. But at the same time, like most people, for me, LinkedIn was like a jobs platform. Let me put myself on here in case any job opportunities come, recruitment. It's like an online CV. And I actually used to run a CV/resume makeover business, and I used to coach people and do sessions and workshops, and I'd say to them, so LinkedIn is like your online CV. Make sure that you're on LinkedIn with your CV. So that was pretty much what the platform was for me at that point. But along the way, things started to shift as I started to dip my toes in posting content on the platform. And back then it was still early-ish, because I think at the time LinkedIn had maybe not even 700 million followers, not followers, what are they called? Registered users, that's it. Maybe about 700 million registered users, which sounds like a lot, but that's really small compared to like all the other social media platforms. But anyway, so along the way, things changed, and I started to realize the power of LinkedIn as a platform, because I'd put my stuff out there with my randomness. I never had a strategy, but I'd put things out there as I felt inspired, and I found that people were approaching me with opportunities, as I said, speaking, etc., business opportunities, clients for my business back then and my business now. And I thought, ooh, there must be something to it. So that's when I eventually shifted, as I said earlier, in 2020 to really diving all in on the platform, and also coaching other people, women in particular, to do the same. So I started early on the platform, which means that I was able to gain traction, gain momentum. But here's the thing, if you're hearing this and you start today, you will still be early. Do you understand? Because LinkedIn is still not as saturated as Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Do we even call it Twitter? X, whatever that platform is called, right? It's not as saturated. I was going to say horrible platform. But anyway, whatever that platform is called, right? It's not as saturated as some of these other platforms. Even though as of today, at the time of recording this, LinkedIn has over 1 billion users. So it is growing, and it is continuing to grow as more and more people are realizing its potential. But yet, it's still a very small number of people who post content regularly on LinkedIn, so if you start now, you are still early. You can still be ahead of the game. Don't wait until a year, because the longer you leave it to start being visible on LinkedIn, the more saturated the platform's going to go, the harder become, and the harder it is going to be for your voice to be heard in the midst of all the noise. So I started early. You can start early by starting today, this very day. So that's the first thing. Number 2, in terms of the 7 key steps I use to build my personal brand on LinkedIn. Number 2 is I focused on a niche. So now this isn't just for business people, by the way, because sometimes when we talk about a niche, you think, oh, I don't have a business, I don't need to focus on a niche. What that means is essentially I focus on a particular target audience. Now, you can have a target audience as a business person. You can have a target audience as an employee. It just means the people that you're targeting with your post. Who are you speaking to? That's the plainest way I can put it. Who are you speaking to with your post? Who do you want to speak to with your post? That is your niche. That is your target audience. You need to have a niche. You can't say, well, I just wanna put posts out on LinkedIn, and just put it out so that everyone can read it. It doesn't work that way, because if you try to resonate with everyone, you are not going to resonate with anyone. So it is much better for you to resonate with your people and alienate everyone else. That means don't be overly concerned about people who are not your audience resonating with your post. You want to make sure that those who are do resonate with your post. So decide your niche. I decided on a niche. I settled on a niche of women. So my CV business before that, I served everybody, probably more guys than men. There are probably 60-40 men, right? But with this one, I decided I was going to focus my niche on women because even though what I teach in terms of LinkedIn, and how to use LinkedIn and how to show up on there, even though that stuff is not gender specific, it can be accessed by a man or a woman, but and I have had male clients, and I have had people book me for events, etc., who are men who reached out to me, and it wasn't for women's events. So, but I did specify on women because I find that there's I enjoy the particularities that we share as women, and then I know that there's certain nuances that we have around showing up and putting ourselves out there that maybe some guys don't fully understand. So I enjoy exploring that, and I enjoy helping women overcome that problem that is sometimes your uniquely a woman problem. So this is why I focus on that niche, and as I said earlier on, I also focus on professional women. So professional women in career front, professional women in the business front. It's both. They are both my audience, and I absolutely love serving and speaking to both of these audiences. So think about your niche. Who is your target audience? Who do you want to serve, with your content, with your services and products if you have it? But who do you want to serve and who do you want to speak to? Concentrate on resonating with them and forget about the rest. Okay? So that's step number 2. Right. Step number 3 in terms of building your personal brand on LinkedIn. A step that I took that I want you to take as well is I showed up regularly. Now, whenever I talk about showing up regularly on LinkedIn, sometimes people's hearts skip a beat because they're like, oh, Mildred, surely I can't show up every day. I know you showed up every day. You posted every day for 4 years, but surely I can't do that. I don't have every day worth of content. Well, first of all, let me tell you that you actually do have every day worth of content, because before I started posting every day on LinkedIn, I thought exactly the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I definitely don't have every day worth of content. So what got me started on the journey is I signed up to a challenge that somebody was having on LinkedIn, where it was a challenge to put out content for 30 days every single day. And remember, as I said, at this point, I was just posting now and again when I was inspired, which maybe once a week at the most. And now I had to find content for every single day. My God, it was a challenge and a half. But guess what? Somehow I managed to do it. Not just for those 30 days, but I didn't stop afterwards. I kept on going. If you almost anything, I'm going to add almost, right? Because there's some things that are not, but almost anything is possible when you put your mind to it, and when you decide to do it, and when you dedicate and plan for it. So if you make the decision and I'm going to be visible on LinkedIn, and you say, right, I'm going to show up, that's the very first place to start. From there, and you decide I'm going to post content every day of the week. Trust me, that commitment, if you're somebody who keeps commitments you make to yourself. If you're not, then there's an issue that you need to work on before the LinkedIn bit, right? Because it's really important. If you can't keep commitment to yourself, get an accountability partner, get a coach. That's what other people are there for. But once you make that commitment and you start the process of doing it, that whole thing on itself helps you to create. The more you create, there's a biblical verse around this that says, to him who has, more will be given, and then the one who has few will be taken away. It just means that the more you put to use the thing that you already have, the more of it you will get. So if you want to get better at something, do more of it, not less. If you want to post better content, do more content, not less. So that said, do I think you need to post every single day on LinkedIn? Not necessarily. As I said, I was doing 5 days a week and some weekends previously. Now that I've returned to LinkedIn, I'm currently doing three times a week, but it's likely going to go back up to 5 days again soon. But I always say to clients, at the very minimum, if your goal is to become visible, you need to post 3 times a week. That's non-negotiable, right? That is non-negotiable. Once a week is not going to cut it. Once a week is if you're just exercising your muscles and you're getting used to it and you're kind of dipping your toes in the water. That's okay. I'll let you have once a week. But after that, if you're serious and you have some serious goals behind your visibility, whether it's to give yourself opportunities for recognition in your existing workplace, or for promotion in your workplace, or for new jobs even, or to be seen as a thought leader, or whether it's in your business, you want to attract clients or attract opportunities like speaking engagements, podcast interviews, collaborations, partnerships, you need to be visible on a more regular basis. And I would recommend 3 times a week for that at a minimum. Okay? So there we go. So that was number three. I showed up regularly on LinkedIn, and you should too. Number 4, on the 7 key steps to build your personal brand on LinkedIn that I took, is I gave free value. And you should give free value too. Now, what do I mean by free value? That means your content, the things that you do put out there, please don't go putting out any piece of rubbish out there, right? It's not a place to just kind of share random thoughts every now and again or whatever, right? So as I said earlier, you identify your niche, and then you identify what it is you want to say to your niche. So these are your subject topic areas. And then you create valuable content around this. So for example, if you've decided that you want to help people to become better managers in the workplace, then you're going to decide that the content that you put out is going to be things that really help people to become better managers. So you might write posts about giving your employees days off, not hounding them by email for stuff, having more face-to-face meetings, whatever it is you've decided is a solution, or not even a solution, or even you could even be exploring the topic, but whatever it is that you've decided that your audience needs in order to become better at whatever it is that you're focusing on, you need to give, and give it freely. Even if you're a business person, even if that is your what is it, bread and butter, So for example, I do LinkedIn visibility coaching. I help professional women, in the business or career space to get visible on LinkedIn so that you can advance in your career and or in your business, right? The content that I put out, if you go through all the content I put out over the last 4 years or so on LinkedIn, you will be able to piece together what you need to do, the strategies, without paying me a single penny, because it's valuable content, and that's okay. And a lot of the people that I serve will never become my clients. They're never, because they don't have whether they can't invest in my services, premium services or whatever, that's okay. But it is the fact that I am putting this content out there to serve people. I want to serve my audience. I want to make sure that you get what you need, to really succeed in this journey. Where people pay me is help with the implementation. And yes, extra knowledge, etc. But the implementation, how many of us know what to do? If you want to lose weight, you know that you need to eat less carbs at midnight, right? And you need to probably put your trainers on and jog or lift some weights at the gym. But knowing what to do and actually doing what you know are 2 very separate things. So a lot of the time, professionals and experts get paid to help people implement the things that they already know. Part of that helps them to learn new things and quicker and shorter and faster and better ways to do the things that they know, and also teaching them new things. But really a lot of it is helping to implement the things that you know. So don't worry that if you start giving away valuable content as a business person that people won't buy your services or whatever. They will. In fact, it makes you even more credible, because it's like, oh wow, if all of this is the value you're giving out for free, then how much more will I get if I pay to work with you? So it's a good psychological effect, a positive psychological effect. So yeah, give free value and give lots of it in your content. Always make sure every post you put out, you think, what is in it for my audience? Not just what is in it for me. That's all nice, but what is in it for my audience? What's in it for them? Okay? So that's number 4. Right, number 5, step number 5. Step number 5 in the 7 key steps that I use to build my personal brand on LinkedIn that you should do too, if you want to do the same, is that I used a range of content formats to communicate. Now, what this means is text post is my go-to. You know, I'm a natural writer. My background's journalism. I love to write. I'm a writer, right? So I like text posts, but I also like video. I was not a natural video person. I learned to get comfortable at video, and I've told that story in a previous podcast where I learned to get comfortable with video. Now I love it. I absolutely love video. You know, but I still go to writing as my predominant thing because it's just easier. There's less friction. I can pick up my phone and write, but with a video, I have to find the lighting. I have to set up my phone and, you know, my tripod or whatever it is, right? There's more friction. So writing is easiest. So I do writing predominantly, but I also do videos. And I vary it between image posts and, you know, I can do things like document posts. I can write long form articles. I've written long form articles. I've gone live many times on LinkedIn, you know, live and actually going live. This is live video where you can interact with your audience in real time. You know, so that is actually one of the biggest ways I built my personal brand on LinkedIn and built my audience of women that were to later become the Visible Women Tribe. You know, so through going live on LinkedIn. So adapt your content format. Don't just stick to the same format all the time because one, it can get boring for your audience. But two, as you do different content forms, you reach different audiences. I was always surprised at how in my LinkedIn lives, I used to get people turn up to my LinkedIn lives who almost never show up on my posts. People I didn't even know were in my world, in my circle, but they'll show up on my lives, but they won't show up on my posts because they, you know, for whatever reason. I would have people comment on my videos who never comment on my tech stuff and vice versa. So when you do different content formats, it gives you opportunity to reach different audiences in new and interesting ways. So make sure you vary your format so you don't get stuck in a rut and your audience doesn't get stuck in a rut with your content. So it's always fresh, always exciting. Okay, 2 more to go in the 7 steps to build your personal brand that I used to build my personal brand. Step number 6 is I kept my authenticity. I kept my authenticity. Now, a lot of the women that I've had conversations with, some who went on to become clients, the initial hang-ups they had about showing up on LinkedIn was that LinkedIn is a professional platform. You know, so for me to show up on LinkedIn, I'm going to have to adopt a professional voice, you know, in other words, a corporate voice. You know, you have your corporate voice. The way you speak at work is not necessarily the way you speak outside of work. So people think I'm going to have to adopt a corporate voice on LinkedIn. Well, let me tell you this, that Mildred did not adopt any corporate voice, and neither do I have any desire to. And you shouldn't either. You should adopt your voice. Yes, LinkedIn is a professional platform, but just like all the other platforms, LinkedIn is a platform full of people. And guess what? People like to connect with people that they know, like, and trust. People like to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. You'll say, Mildred, but I'm not selling anything. Yes, you are. Even if you're not a business person and you're somebody in employment and you want to become a thought leader, etc., you are selling ideas. People have to buy into that. And it's so much easier for people to buy into what you're selling when they know you, like you, and trust you. So this is where you being your authentic self helps with that process. If you're some fake version, one, people will see through it. Two, you will not be able to sustain that because it is tiring. Trust me, I've been there. When you're trying to be someone that you're not because you want to fit in the environment that you're around. I kicked that stuff to the curb a long time ago. I know who I am and I love who I am. Thank you, Jesus. But honestly though, be your authentic self because nobody can do you as good as you can. And the thing about being authentic to yourself is that, guess what? You are going to attract people who will not like you. And that's okay. It is okay. Everyone is not going to love you. Even Jesus was not loved by everybody, right? And he was perfect and sinless, you know? But everybody is not going to love you. But your people will. So when you're authentic, you will attract a particular type of people who I'm calling your people. These are the people that will like you. They will know you, they will like you, they will trust you, and they'll connect with the work that you're doing. That's the people that you want to resonate with. So bring your authentic self to the table. Kick that professional voice out, you know, because we don't want that voice here. We want you. We want to hear you. Okay? Right. The very, very last thing, last but not least, as they say, of the steps that I took to build my personal brand on LinkedIn that I would recommend for you to take as well is the step of patience. Patience. Now, this is really just to say that all of these things, as you start to put them into place, it is absolutely going to work, but it is going to require you to be consistent and patient. So you have to let the seed that you sow into the ground, you have to give it enough time to build, to yield a harvest. So no farmer plants a seed in January and expects a harvest in February. It doesn't work like that. The agriculture doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in any area of life. Seed needs time to grow. So the work that you're doing now, the process and the steps that you're taking to be visible now is going to take a little bit of time for you to start seeing the effects. Do not give up in the process. Be patient. It's so easy to look at other people and compare yourself. You might say, oh, well, Mildred's got 50,000 followers. It wasn't always 50,000 followers, you know? Or you might say, oh, this person is so great at doing videos. Look how polished they are in their videos. You didn't see their first video or their second or their 10th. They got there over time. You know, as I get older, one of the things, the qualities and traits I really admire in people is consistency. When I see somebody who's been doing something consistently for a period of time, or whether it's a business or kind of, you know, sticking at something, I have a new levels of respect and admiration for them, because as it says in the Bible, is the beginning of a thing is easy, the end thereof is harder. It's easy to start something, but to finish it, not many people do. You know, so be patient, stay consistent, and you will absolutely see the results of your labor in your journey to being visible on LinkedIn. Now, those are the 7 steps. I really hope you got something from there. There's loads of other little things I can add to that, but if you focus on this core, you will absolutely do well on your journey to being visible on LinkedIn and achieving the goals that you want from that visibility. So let me know how that resonates with you. Which one of those steps you think that you need to do more of? You know, please do reach out to me. Send me a message on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. Send me a message. I love to hear from my podcast listeners. Drop me an email, info@mildredtalabi.com, you know, to let me know your thoughts on this episode and how it's helped you. And if you need further support, as I said, I've relaunched my weekly newsletter, Start Being Visible, the Visible Woman newsletter. Every Monday in your inbox. I would love for you to join my community on there. You know, so you can find that at startbeingvisible.com. That's where you got all the links to my newsletter, my book. If you want to pick up a copy of my book, Start Being Visible, it's all there too. And if you want to inquire about how you can work with me, it's all there at startbeingvisible.com. So that is it for this debut episode of season 3 of Start Being Visible. Really hope that was helpful for you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you back here next week, where I have a guest interview that you really do not want to miss. But until then, take care, and remember, the best opportunities come to those who are visible. Bye bye now.